right, Andy Ruiz reacts to Oleksandr Usyk heavyweight debut and give his thoughts on Usyk and welcomes a fight with him. And he kind of touches on Andy Ruiz. I'll link the interview in the description. We back. Goodfellas Sports TV in the building. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And Andy Ruiz had his open workout. Now, if you don't know, Andy Ruiz is training in Mexico. He's training in the mountains, I believe. And they moved this camp from, I guess, in California to Mexico because of the media. Two of the media members mixed up a story or mixed up some words about Andy Ruiz, and it was Dan Rayfield and Mike Coppinger, so they're no longer able to interview Andy Ruiz, at least for the time being, and to keep the media out. Andy Ruiz and Manny Robles, hopefully I said his name right, his coach, they moved their camp to Mexico, all right? So they've been down there, so they had their open workouts for the AJ fight, and he was asked about Oleksandr Usyk, and he said basically he wasn't impressed. He said he's a great boxer, but he don't look like he carried his power up, and he wants to smoke. Now, in my opinion, I think a lot of the fans overrate Oleksandr Usyk. A lot of his apologists overrate him. His heavyweight debut wasn't really good. The opponent wasn't that good, and he kind of touched Usyk up a lot. I see a little bit of adjustment where he's trying to sit down on his punches, but he has fought at heavyweight before. He beat up Joe Joyce in the World Series of Boxing, and people seem to believe that Andy Ruiz should fear Oleksandr Usyk. Okay, they seem to think like guys like Deontay Wilder should fear guys like Oleksandr Usyk. Like, I don't think none of these dudes fear Usyk. Usyk is a hell of a amateur fighter. He has a very amateur style. He's like a bigger Lomachenko, okay? He's not going to beat you on the back foot a lot of times. He'll beat you on the front foot. You know what I'm saying? He'll come forward to try to apply pressure, but on the back foot, he ain't that good. And I believe Andy Ruiz actually matches up really well with him. I believe Ruiz got a lot of explosive hands. He got, solid power. And I don't see why fans just act like guys fear Oleksandr Usyk at the heavyweight division. He ain't even that he ain't even that skilled to be feared like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't have that like Roy Jones quick twitch, or he just not gonna dispatch you. Yeah, he beat up Tony Bellew, and he barely escaped with a victory over Breedis at the cruiserweight division. He beat up Michael Hunter at cruiserweight. But I don't see where this aura of fear at, where Wilder and Andy Ruiz and AJ need to duck up under the table and fear this dude. Anybody with a brain that's seen his heavyweight debut, he need to do more. He can't just jump right into an AJ and Andy Ruiz fight. Now, I'm not sure, and I'm pretty sure he is, and Andy Ruiz is aware of it, that he has an IBF mandatory versus Puev, right? Now, it maybe come down to the fact where Eddie Hearn said they supposed to order 2 mandatories at once. From people I talked to behind the scenes, he supposed to get the IBF and then the WBO mandatory. So that'll be the majority part of his 2020, all right? Because he got to do the mandatory fight versus Puev by like May 30th. And I don't think the WBO will force his hand to strip him for that. And I think he just Usyk get a shot. And I think Usyk, in my opinion, he need another tune-up versus a live opponent. Okay? He do. But I would favor Andy Ruiz to get the job done right now. That's depending if he beat Anthony Joshua. But his hand speed, his natural size, his natural power, Usyk can put more weight on his body. He can put more weight on his body, but it ain't gonna help him with his power. I just think Andy Ruiz will have a really good chance at beating him, and people just overrate Oleksandr Usyk. This ain't Tony Bellew. This ain't no Euro trash can. Andy Ruiz really should be undefeated because he didn't lose to Joseph Parker. Okay, he didn't. But it is what it is. And Andy Ruiz said he would like to fight. Oleksandr Usyk said he would like to fight AJ, because obviously AJ bring more money. He told Kukins Cassius wanted to buy from IFL TV. He wanted to buy a shirt from Usyk, and he said, "I got money." He said, "I'll give you the shirt. I don't have money, but if you got money, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't really matter. But maybe he liked the AJ fight more. You know, because I thought he got the style to beat AJ. Personally, I do. I personally think he got the style to defeat Anthony Joshua. His movement, his pity pat punches would be good enough to keep Joshua on the defensive and keep him off balance. I think that's a matchup that I favor just looking at him. But he probably could make some adjustments. But I think Andy Ruiz can handle that business. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that I would bet my house on it because Usyk can't fight. But hey, I think Andy Ruiz could hold his own. I think he could be Oleksandr Usyk. I would slightly favor him to do so. Now, he said that Anthony Joshua, he quoted Mike Tyson because he was on the Hot Boxing podcast with Tyson, and he said that everybody got a plan until they get hit, and he said that AJ is slimming down and he's, you know, ultimately trying to outbox him and get a decision. I seen him say that in another interview, but he said it's not going to help him. He said everybody got a plan until they get hit. So Anthony Joshua is probably going to try to go out there and box. You know what I'm saying? He probably going to try to go out there and box, and that's what Ruiz think he going to do. And Ruiz basically is going to bring the pain to him. Now Ruiz is losing weight. He running in those mountains at that high altitude. And I would believe that should help him. I'm not concerned about him, you know, being too skinny. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, people just look at, oh, Anthony Joshua, he was, you know, Ruiz was a stronger fighter. Or Ruiz was hit him hard, and if he lose weight, he going to lose his power. No, the speed. That hand speed and just timing and his boxing ability and his combination punches is what got Anthony Joshua and his timing. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be the biggest puncher to beat Anthony Joshua. He not really a fighter at spirit. And he really can't take that punishment. You know what I'm saying? In my personal opinion, he can't take that punishment. He don't like getting hit. And maybe one punch knockout guy, if you are, or accumulation, you can get him out of there. And he right. Anthony Joshua trying to slim down, and he trying to, you know, get more stamina. He trying to box and move more. But you ain't gonna learn that from Rob McCracken. You gonna learn that from no coach in one training camp. In 6 months, that's years of dedication. Anthony Joshua should go out there and try to put Ruiz on the back foot and try to use his natural size and strength to bulldoze Ruiz and press him. If he let Ruiz get on the front foot and AJ do all that moving and get tired, and then he's stationary, then he gonna get popped in the mouth. Anthony Joshua should be going out there trying to seek and destroy and put Ruiz on the back foot and use his natural height and size and keep him at the end of his punches and then try to beat him into submission. But if he going out there trying to outbox Andy Ruiz or Oleksandr Usyk or Wilder, he going to sleep. Okay? He going to Sleepsville. You know, and he can lose all that weight. I think a lot of his stamina issues, like somebody said in the comment section, might be genetic, but I just don't think he built for boxing. You know, I think he be hyperventilating. I think he uses a lot of energy because he ain't calm. And that was kind of a thing with Shane Mosley. He was a real jittery fighter, and that uses a lot of energy. You know, when you jittery or when you don't feel comfortable in the ring and you nervous, and I think Anthony Joshua is a really nervous fighter. I don't think he comfortable, especially at least when they was in America. I don't think he was comfortable in his skin in that environment. And when you're not comfortable, when you're nervous, you know, I think that is a problem. But to be honest, I think Andy Ruiz should go ahead and beat AJ, and I think he'd beat Oleksandr Usyk. You know, I'm not saying it's 100% sure chance because things can happen in Saudi Arabia. And I heard the stadium might not be ready, but I don't know how true that is. And things can happen versus Usyk. Usyk's a good fighter. But what I seen Chaz Weatherspoon hit him with a few shots and his face got red, I think Andy Ruiz could beat Oleksandr Usyk. I don't think that's an impossible fight. And I think a lot of people are overrating Oleksandr Usyk. You know what I'm saying? Had that been, I don't know, let's just say, for instance, had that been another American prospect that made that debut versus Chaz Weatherspoon, people would have been all over it. Anybody with a boxing brain knows that Oleksandr Usyk didn't look good in that fight. His opponent was a trash can, guy out of shape, and I believe Andy Ruiz would beat him. And I don't think fighters fear Usyk like some of his apologists believe they do. But hey, it's my personal opinion. Goodfellas Sports TV. Once again, I'll link that interview in the description on the source link. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Once again, reach out to the email if you got a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Sorry, a little bit tired, but keep sharing the videos. Appreciate the love, support.